Are you a fearful avoidant attachment style searching for how to actually leave your past in the past where it belongs? Well, that sounds like you, and you're tired of carrying around past baggage or challenges or hardship from childhood, and you actually want to let it go. We're going to cover some really powerful tools for exactly how to do that in this video. If you're not familiar already, by the way, the fearful avoidant attachment style is also sometimes called the anxious avoidant attachment style or disorganized attachment style. And essentially, this is one of four attachment styles, fearful avoidant. And this particular attachment style is the one that generally suffers the most emotional chaos and turmoil in childhood. And as a result, they can be very hot and cold in relationships as adults. They sort of tend to get stuck in this push pull dynamic between their fears of abandonment and yearning for closeness, and then their fears of being trapped and in the wrong relationship. And so they sort of are very hot and cold, kind of like a pendulum constantly swinging back and forth in their adult romantic life. So, first, what you need to know and understand is if this is you, if you are the fearful avoidant attachment style, today we're going to uncover the hidden language of the subconscious mind, something in psychology known as the ironic processing theory, which will help you deeply remember how to leverage the power of your subconscious mind on an ongoing basis. And then at the end, we are going to talk about a really powerful tool for reprogramming subconscious wounds that you might have acquired or picked up from childhood. So, first thing you need to know is that the subconscious mind is responsible for roughly 95 to 97% of your beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and actions. Your conscious mind is generally responsible for roughly 3 to 5%. So when we're looking at things we need to heal, we need to change, if we're just addressing the conscious mind, it can be extremely limiting. It can feel like we're not really getting anywhere or seeing any momentum. So the first thing that you want to understand is like to properly heal, we have to address the subconscious. Now, the language of the subconscious is not our native language. In my case, it's not English. The conscious mind speaks language. The subconscious mind speaks emotion and imagery. Now, the easiest way of depicting this is if I say to you, whatever you do not think of the pink elephant. Even though you heard do not, you probably saw a flash of a pink elephant in your mind. And what happens is this is what's known as the ironic processing theory. Your subconscious mind has a difficult time picking up on language and it doesn't hear the do nots. And so when you look at how we want to change things, one of the big things I would see with clients all the time when I was running my practice for many years is I would see clients say things to me like, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to, start my 20, whatever year New Year's resolution on the right foot. And I'm not going to eat junk food. I'm not going to eat chocolate. I'm not going to eat cookies. And they would say things that, all that's happening is you're bombarding your own subconscious mind with the images of these things, which actually makes you much more likely to take action towards them. So, what we have to first understand is that to hack the subconscious patterns that we're carrying, in this case, as a fearful avoidant attachment style, generally a lot of fears of being abandoned, fears of being betrayed, fears of being trapped in the wrong relationship or with the wrong person. In order to overcome these fears, if these were generally these deep wounds that you acquired from childhood experiences where you saw pain in relationships, you saw suffering in relationships, we have to recondition. We can't say I'm not going to be trapped. We can't say I'm not going to be abandoned because all we are bombarding our own subconscious mind with is these wounds of abandonment. Now, I want to say one other thing here. If you've ever had the experience of, let's say, being in a relationship or dating somebody and knowing this person is not the right person for you, they're not healthy for you, and you know that they're not a good fit for you, and yet you find yourself going back to that same person or same experience, this is a really powerful example of the difference between your conscious and subconscious mind. Your conscious mind can know better. It can say, I'm going to set a new goal. I'm not going to go back to this person. Your conscious mind can say, I'm going to set a New Year's resolution. I am going to stop feeling so angry or triggered. You can say all these things to yourself consciously, but do your behaviors follow? And the behaviors, the programming, that is what exists at the subconscious level. So if you've had this experience of saying, I'm not going to go back to somebody, and then you go back, that's basically the difference between your conscious and subconscious mind. So, in order to create change, again, we have to do it at the subconscious level. So I'm going to give you a really powerful tool here to leave all of these different painful programs in the past where they belong. It's something we talk a lot about in the personal development school. We have a whole course called 21 Ways to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind, where there's all sorts of different tools. You can actually check that course out for free for 7 days using the link in the description box below just for a limited time. And this first tool is one of those 21, and it's called auto-suggestion belief reprogramming. So essentially, we leverage this understanding that while our conscious mind speaks language, our subconscious mind speaks in emotion and imagery, right? If I say, do not think of the pink elephant, you think of the pink elephant. If I say to you, tell me your favorite childhood memory, as you would start speaking of that childhood memory, you would probably start smiling, your body language would open up. And that's because what a memory actually is a memory is a set of images with emotion attached to it. Okay. So if you were to think of like your favorite childhood memory, you would see the images as you were recalling it and you would feel the attached emotions. So we know the subconscious mind speaks through emotion and imagery. And we know that when we leverage emotion and imagery repetitively over time, what it does is it fires and wires new neural pathways. Then what we can do is we can pair repetition so that we've got the firing repetitively with emotion and imagery, which exists in memories. And this is how we can start reprogramming. So here are your actual steps. Okay. Step one, I want you to think of one of your most painful childhood wounds. I'll tell you some really common ones for fearful avoidance, and you can pick the one that sort of stings the most or you see showing up a lot in your life currently. These can be things like I will be betrayed, I will be abandoned, I will be trapped, I will be helpless if I rely on somebody else, I will be powerless if I let my guard down in a relationship. I'm a bad person if I ever make a mistake in a relationship. I am unsafe emotionally to really let my guard down with others. I don't matter to other people. People don't care about me, these sorts of things. So see which ones really stick out to you as being something that stings, that shows up in your relationships a lot. And what I then want you to do is find the exact opposite because we can't say, don't think of the pink elephant. We have to be for a solution instead of against a problem. So an example of this would be think of the green elephant, right? In this case, if it's I'm not good enough or I'm unworthy or I'm bad, it would be things like I am good enough, I am worthy, I am innocent. If it's I am trapped, I am free. I am helpless, I am supported. I am powerless, I am empowered. So you want to find the opposite. I will be abandoned. I will stay connected. Okay. So you want to pick the opposite of that big wound that stuck out to you in terms of things that show up for you quite frequently in your relationships. And then every day for 21 days, research into neuroplasticity shows that it takes roughly 21 days to create a new habit. You want to come up with 10 memories so that you're speaking to your subconscious mind. Remember, the conscious mind is not the issue, it's your subconscious where you have these programs embedded to begin with. And you need to come up with 10 memories that represent the opposite of that wound on a daily basis. And what you're doing is you're firing and wiring repetition, emotion, and imagery, which is how the subconscious literally gets reprogrammed over time to drop those old ideas so you're not carrying that baggage into future relationships. So if we take a look here and we want to do an example together for a moment, we can just use a really simple one. Let's say it's I am not good enough. Okay, so I am good enough would be the opposite. I need 10 memories that demonstrate to me how I am good enough. It can be characteristics of how I show up. I'm a good friend because I was really there for my friend last week when they needed something. I'm a good friend because I try to always be considerate and mindful of what people are experiencing. Because I'm a good listener with others. Here's an example of when I was a good listener with others. Because I work very hard in my career. Here's an example of when I did that. So, what you're doing is every time you give an example, you're grabbing a memory. And in that recalling of the memory, you have that emotion and you have that imagery because all memories are containers of emotion and imagery. And so if you're doing this each day, 10 pieces of evidence for 21 days, you're going to see you recondition that whole thing. Now, here's a really cool tip. If you are somebody who's like, I'm going to have a hard time sticking to this for 21 days, record it into your phone and play it back to yourself on a daily basis. You just need to imagine it and see it and feel about it on a regular basis in order to see the needle move. So if you can do that regularly and you can just hear it back, feel the images or feel the emotions, see the images in your mind's eye, you are doing that reprogramming. You don't have to come up with something new every single day. So this is a really powerful starting reprogramming tool in order to see that shift, in order to leave that baggage behind so that these things stop showing up in your present and future relationships and you can deepen your healing journey much more quickly and get results. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I can't wait to see you in future videos.